Hiya.
It's Belinda and Lee from Chateau Mareuil. How are you? Nice and bright and sunny out today, but I've got a coat on because
Very
it's quite
windy,
cold and chilly, and in a moment we're going to be going outdoors.
But here we are in the Chateau kitchen, and up until now, right, you've seen us prepare candles, or you may have done if you've watched any of the vlogs.
Making cakes.
Cooking.
Empty cake stand, sorry about that.
But what we haven't ever shown, apart from a couple of close friends and some family, is that what we're actually standing on here is the access hatch to a cellar and what we think was a dungeon. So I'm going to just detach the camera, but
okay.
You were going to say something, I think.
No, you said it all.
I've said it all.
As always.
I've got in first this time.
Unusual. Won't let that happen again. Yeah, so in a minute we're going to show you the hatch.
What we're going to do, take you around and have a look at the hatch. Then what I would like to do is go outside and show you what the cellar looks like, the dungeon looks like from the rear of the chateau, so you can get some idea of orientation of where it sits within the chateau grounds. Right, so this is where we normally stand when we're making these vlogs, and as you can see, here is the access hatch down into the cellar. So what I'm going to do is just pull this open. We've got to make sure Misty Dog doesn't go sneaking. She doesn't like it down there. She doesn't like it. Not many people do.
Yeah, I'm very concerned about going down there. I don't like going down there at all, actually. Oh my goodness me. Ooh, hold on.
So that's the entrance, and as you can see, it's actually a formed staircase that's down there. So what I'm now going to do...
Oh, it's cold, Lee. You can feel the cold air coming up.
Yeah, you can feel it. It's really cold down there. Oh. So treading very carefully because I don't want to do a blooper and fall down. But what I want to do is now just go outside and show you the outside of it. Okay. And if you remember from earlier vlogs, this house was first recorded as being inhabited as a residence by Lord Jean I of Mareuil in 1494. So
but this would have predated 1494.
This would have predated it because the building had to be here before he could move in.
Exactly.
So this was earlier, and I've also got another theory which I'll share with you in a minute as well. So let's go outside and I'll show you around the back.
See you in a minute.
Okay.
So here we are. I'm just exiting the chateau, so you can tell which direction we're going in.
Yeah, and obviously I'm behind the camera.
So I'm just going to be walking around the turret.
It's very windy. I'm not sure the sound is going to be that great, but I think it's important to keep it in for authenticity so that anyone viewing this can see exactly where we're going.
So we're just coming past the chapel now, and the beautiful japonica still flowering there. Down the stairs towards the sky garden. Oh my goodness! And here we are, just coming down to the sky garden now. It's quite steep here.
It's a bit slippery as well.
It's around here, isn't it, Lee?
Yeah. So let me walk down.
Where's Misty gone?
Sorry for the camera shake, but it's very bumpy and slippery here at the moment.
So these are the steps that will eventually take you down to the river.
Yeah, the steps there.
We showed this on a previous vlog.
Yeah, and you can see the river there. And then from here I'll just reorientate you because you can actually now start to see the rear of the chateau appearing here. So here we go, we're going to see a disappearing Belinda as she goes round the back of the chateau and disappears down the steps towards the river, and that is the rear of the chateau there. So this piece of the chateau here is an external bread oven. This is the rear of the chapel. This is the rear of the salon, and up here, the top part here, just show you where my finger is there, that's the bedrooms, and below that, really deep down, is where the dungeon is. So just to guide your eyes, at the top of the extension out the back, you'll see a window, and that window is the bathroom area. Above that window is a little hatch which is access into the grenier, or the attic. Is it grenier, Belinda? Attic.
Grenier.
Yeah, grenier. Yeah. And then as you come down, there's a window below that, and that is the ground floor bedroom. You can just about see it through the blossom tree, but then really right down below that to one side there's a tiny little hole in the wall. I'll see if I can get a bit closer in.
I can see it, I can see it.
And that is the aperture that allows some natural light into the dungeon.
I just said to Lee that we ought to show you a little bit of the outside because it's such a pretty day. It's really bright and sunny. The river is looking so fresh and beautiful. It was very, very high just really a few weeks back. Incredibly high, actually almost up to the wall. And now it's reduced again, it's down, and it's looking so clear and lovely. You could paddle across that.
Yeah, you could. Just where those birch trees are, beyond that is where the old iron gate and gateposts are, and the golden cockerels on top.
And look, all the flowers are beginning, all the lilacs beginning. Look, this is just
it's all starting to come into bloom.
Beginning
now.
of the bud of the beautiful lilac. Can't wait. Yeah. Right, let's go in and
come on in, take us in. Let's go down the cellar. Right, we're back inside now.
Oh, so a bit out of breath.
Bit out of breath and very windy. I hope the sound was all right out there, but we'll find out later.
So before we descend to the cellar, dungeon, we use those words really, either or, don't we? Just I've taken a little bit of a look at the history, really, of dungeons in castles. I'm rather hoping this wasn't used in an unpleasant way. But we think it might have been used as a prison cell at one point.
We know from a local historian that any lord of a chateau back in the 1500s had to make provision as a holding cell or a place to hold vagabonds and ne'er-do-wells until someone was sent out from the brigands, until someone was sent out from the local town to apprehend these people and take them back for trial. So it was very much a temporary holding cell, and we've learned also that it had mixed use because at one point in its life it was actually used for food storage as a cold store.
Well, they were, so very often, as in great English country houses actually as well, so these cellars underground would have been used for cold storage. So in the winter they would have filled them with ice blocks and then would have used that space underground for cold storage through the summer to keep the food fresh.
But the reason that we believe that it's had dual use is not only is there a staircase to go down to it, but there's also a hatch that lowers things down. So if you were storing food in there, you wouldn't just lower it down via a rope from a hatch.
And that makes you think it could have been used as a prison cell?
Yeah, I think it would have
been. To put food down?
To put food down, and of course what goes down has got to come back up again at some point. So it would have been to lifting buckets out, if you get my gist. No. Not a very pleasant thought, yeah.
Do you know what? And there's of interest, I think, is where the word dungeon actually comes from. Mm-hmm. So you might know we've got a donjon, and a donjon is the old French word for a castle keep or a castle tower. And I've been reading that apparently before prisoners were kept underground in cellars, in prison dungeons, they would have kept them, and I'm pointing to our donjon, which is through the window there, they would have kept them in the castle keep, because that was considered to be the most secure part of the castle. Now, as time went on, they moved, they wanted to use those higher spaces for better use, really, and they moved the prisons actually to the prisoners to the nastiest place, which would have been underground, where nobody would have wanted to have had their bedroom.
I'm getting slightly nervous.
So the word,
Belinda's getting very animated with her hands.
But the word, I want to explain where the word dungeon comes from, because dungeon is really a sort of English derivation of the word donjon, which is the French word for castle keep. Sorry?
One of the other things I found out when I was, I didn't tell you about this, but one of the other things I found out, really in the medieval period, they didn't actually take prisoners as such. People didn't live that long. The only prisoners that barons and lords took was children of other barons and lords and held them to hostage.
That's not very nice.
Yeah, to try and do a land grab or get more bargaining power. And those children were allowed to roam within the walls of the castle or the chateau, but weren't allowed to escape. However, that all changed around about the 1500s, late 1400s, when political prisoners, people that were stirring up trouble, were actually captured and were going for trial, and that's when prisons actually started in chateaus. So
should we go down?
Yeah, let's go down. Let's stop talking and get on with it. I'm just going to go down and light a few candles first, because it's impossible to see. I'm not quite sure how good the light's going to be down there for the camera. I'm just going to go down with some matches, because it's not very light, and I'm going to use the torch on my phone
to see your way,
to try and find my way down there, because it's quite dark.
Okay.
So here goes. No, it's very steep.
God, you see that dramatic difference? Ooh, careful.
God, it's really cold.
In that stone. Can you see that stone? When Lee's gone, yeah, I'll show you. Ooh,
whatever you do, don't fall down the hole, darling. Don't fall down the hole. Your time's not up yet.
So there he is. He's disappeared now into the depths of the dungeon. But I just wanted to show you that ancient stone wall just at the back of the steps there. And I can only imagine that the interior of the chateau would have looked a bit like that. It's all gone very quiet. Anyway, we'll see Lee in a minute. He's just lighting some candles.
So I'm just descending into this cellar. I've lit some candles down here, and there is a little bit of a hole, but you can see these old walls are here. And you can see that there was, at one point, it's really too dark, but a proper archway door in here. So I'm just going to go back and get Belinda. Belinda, you can come down now, you're all right. There's the arch I was telling you about, the stone arch that's here.
I don't like this.
I know.
I really don't like this.
It's all right now, but you want to try getting up the stairs after you've had half a bottle of Sauvignon.
I was going to say, normally the lure of coming down here is that we're having a wine tasting down here, but there is no such inducement today.
We do have wine tastings down here for close family, close friends and family.
So pretty. Right. Gosh, that's lovely.
So I'll just give you a panorama now of, yeah, I know. Here's what it looks like down here. As you can see, it's very rough. I've lit just a few candles, but you can see on the table there, we normally have about 150 candles down here when we're doing a wine tasting. The whole place looks a bit Harry Potter like. There's a very high level slot, which is the slot I showed you from outside, and you can see the vaulting. There is a complete vault all the way around. I'll just carry on going around a bit further so you can see. There's a couple of interesting things that we've got here. So, for example, the barrel was always here, but one of the things that we did do is, because there was hardly anything down here when we moved here, we got a local blacksmith to make these 3 candle holder wrought iron wall lights, sconces if you like. We put 4 of those up, and then the other thing we found is lots of old iron tools and things. So we've turned the what looked like hammerheads upside down and stuck candles in them, and they make quite nice candle holders.
Nick, can I just point out another feature?
Yeah.
Is empty wine racks.
Yeah, that's not a good look, is it?
We've got
an empty wine rack there.
3 empty wine racks.
This is a well used.
Not a good sign, is it? Really?
It's well used, this cellar. You can see, and you can see all the candles, literally from another festive occasion that we had.
Lee, I've got another question.
And there's the other empty wine rack.
Is that the hole?
Yeah. So what we're now looking at? So the entry point would have been here, coming down the stairs, and you can see the proper stone granite archway and siding. But if you look up here onto the barrel vaulting, there's a hole, a massive hole, and this was the hatch that we believe was used to lower if there would have been a person down here, and they could have been down here for some time. We're not talking a couple of days, it could be more like a couple of weeks or a month. There's a hatch there that actually emerges in our salon that's been sealed over and is no longer used. There's a flooring over it, but the hatch is really weird. You can't see, it's too dark on here at the moment. In fact, if you could put my torch on, I can try and shine some light in there. So this may help. You can just see the wooden underside of the hatch.
Yeah.
But what's really
I
interesting,
can't get any higher, sorry.
it's a different shape. It's very narrow at one end and very large at the other end, and it's propped up on block. And the barrel vaulting of the ceiling has actually been compromised by making the hatch.
Lee?
Yeah.
There's another feature I'd like you to focus on.
Yeah.
Which is this rather gruesome looking little doorway.
Yeah, go on, open it up.
No, I'm not going to. Seriously.
Really? You won't
I'm
open
too
it?
frightened to actually open that.
That won't bite you,
No, I'm
will
not doing it.
What,
You open it.
what
So
could
what's in it?
possibly
Don't.
be in there?
It's horrible.
No, hang on, we've got to have a look. I've known this before. Yeah, can you hold the camera?
Yeah, hold on a minute.
Just in case anything flies or runs out of there. I don't know. I know about this, but I don't think there's anything in it.
Oh my God, what is it?
I don't know. It's like a cupboard, but it's made out of stone.
Oh, you do that.
It's like a stone cupboard. You can't see anything in it. I'm not putting my hand in there, that's for sure. It's like a pick and mix, isn't it? You stick your hand into the dark space and pull something out and get surprised with what you've got. I better shut that up just in case there is some. I've woken some animal up. We do get bats down here as well. And the other thing.
Thanks for telling me.
Yeah. The other thing is these tools and nails. We found a whole collection of handmade nails and tools down here, and holders for doors. So that's a latch key for door. This is like a handmade nail, medieval handmade nail. This is a hook for a door. More nails.
Oh, these are ancient.
And they, you know, in medieval times they even had special wrapping for Easter. I don't know what that's doing down here anyway. And then we found chisels, axe heads, all sorts of stuff, just literally littered around on the floor. Tops. Beer bottles, yes, there's lots of beer bottle tops and wine corks floating around. I wonder how that got there. And the other thing that is quite interesting, I think, is here, this wall, because what you can actually see is the huge rock emerging there where Belinda's got the torch, yeah, which is what this fortress or chateau was actually built on. And then above that you've got the stonework, the ancient stonework, and you can then see the curvature of the barrel vaulting being expressed across the top there. But when I don't know if you can see it from the camera angle, but you can see there's coloration in this band here. There's like a tumescence that's coming along, and yeah, just there, and it's almost like a greeny colour.
Oh, I can see, yes.
Yeah, and that is really ancient stuff. It's possibly predates the 1400s, probably down to about 1300. It's really ancient, that.
Wow.
And you can see they made little niches everywhere, which we've used as candle spaces. There's one there. There's another one somewhere else around here somewhere. But yeah, so there's one up there. And this was luxury because whoever was in prison down here actually got a window. So, and the other thing you can see is this ancient bench. It was already here when we bought the property, but it's got like an overmantel on it, and why that's there I don't know.
It looks almost like a sort of church.
It looks religious,
like
yeah.
An altar arrangement, doesn't
it?
Yeah. But you know, the feeling down here, it doesn't feel spooky. I'm joking a bit when I'm, you know.
You were frightened by that cupboard, though.
No, I didn't like the cupboard, but to be honest, the atmosphere down here is actually quite nice. It's quite fresh. There's no damp smell. It's not damp at all.
And the temperature's cool, constant down here as well.
It's quite pleasant.
Ideal for a wine cellar, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go back up top. Yeah. Let's blow some of these candles out.
Okay.
Just before we leave the cellar, I've turned all the candles off, and as you can see, the atmosphere changes completely. And there, perhaps with the shaft of light coming in, might have been something like the occupant were experienced hundreds of years ago. But you can see the state of the floor is very, very uneven. And Belinda and I have had many discussions about whether to even it out and gravel it or leave it as authentic as it is. and we've come to the conclusion that the authenticity is more important to us, because there's not many of these places around, and to be lucky enough to have one, we certainly don't want to modernise it in any way. So that's the reason it's so uneven.
All right, here he is.
Right.
I've made it out, and here's Lee coming out. Oh, and there you can see where we are.
I'll just pull this back over.
Just next to the fridge.
Close it up, and when summer gets here and the family are eventually allowed to travel, we normally have a wine tasting down there when all the family come over.
Great fun.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Really good.
So
it doesn't seem so spooky after a few glasses of wine, does it?
there you go, done. Right, I'll just better go and wash my hands.
Okay. So when I did the research, Lee, on castle dungeons, so what would have been a donjon and turned into a dungeon, I came across something else which I'd not heard of before, and that is something which would have been underground, called an oubliette, which in English means the forgotten place. And I began to read up about them, and I stopped, because actually
I read it.
It's really unpleasant.
And we decided not to mention any more than
it's not very nice.
We know about it.
Yeah.
What happened with those places, and in fact, the
Really?
Bastille in Paris has still got one.
It's got one.
And you'll see the name come up at the bottom of the screen. So if anyone is interested in much more gory facts,
this wasn't one of those
look it up on the
nasty
internet.
places. I choose to think that this place was used for, as you said earlier, you know, a local ne'er-do-well, maybe a thief, who was just put down there for a short while before he was carted off to Paris or something to be taken to court. I have no idea.
I kind of liken it to like a medieval prison, a medieval police station.
Oh yeah, that's more like it.
But it was a home to a lord, and so there was a lot of grandeur associated with it at that time. So
and they would have passed some food down and you know, ignored the screaming. Anyway, enough.
Enough of that, I think.
So this was something different today, wasn't it? I mean, we normally stood in the kitchen and we were making candles actually quite recently.
Last time we were here, yeah.
Normally I'm cooking in here, but just really wanted to show you what lies beneath the secret. The cellar. The cellar. Underneath our feet. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we want to thank you as always.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
You're very kind to carry on
some
watching
lovely
us.
Comments back from some of the viewers, so thank you very much. It really does encourage us and inspire us to carry on doing this, so thank you.
And we will. So we'll see you all again soon. Bye. From Chateau Mareuil.